on Easy Street, and it feels so sweet, 'cause the world is but a treat when you're on Easy Street. And we're breaking out the good champagne, we're sitting pretty on the gravy train, and when we sing every sweet refrain repeats right here on Easy Street. It's our moment in the sun, and it's only just begun. It's time to have a little fun. We're inviting you to come and see why you should be on Easy Street. Yeah, we got a front row seat. Oh, to a life that can't be beat right here on Easy Street.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the RangerRob. I can't see. So, welcome to the
Volume's
RangerRob.
down too.
Oh man, everything's all. Oh my goodness. Better. So anyway, this is welcome to. Quit distracting me. This is the RangerRob Country Living Podcast. Yes, sir. Now I can see. Okay. Anyway, so. Is my sound okay?
Yeah.
Good go.
Okay, somebody confused me there. So anyway, we have a full house tonight, which is kind of fun. We have John Pearson from Eugene, and we got Rev. He's driving, but he is on the show. And then we have we have John's. We have a lot of Johns here. So 3 Johns on the show. So Small Town Tourists. We're from Arizona. John Smith, and then we have John and Debbie from J&D, which would be John and Debbie, Pig Hobby Farm, and then there's me. And anyway, so I also got to remind everybody this is also a audio podcast. So if you can't reach us or watch the video version of this, and you have podcast software on your phone and you're listening to your podcast, just do a search for RangerRob Country Living Podcast, and we'll come up on all the major platforms. Put us in your favorites, and you can check out all of our 78 episodes. So there. We're also on Rumble, and we're also on Twitch, and a couple other platforms. And so we're busy buddies. So it's good to see everybody today. Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
No, we won't. Debbie won't tell everybody.
It's good for you to see me.
We're
You on your way to
talking to an
Tennessee?
empty box there, but yes. So did I? Oh, I didn't even introduce him. Hey, Rev is in that box that has no picture in it. Wow, it has a picture, but and he's in North Carolina. So sorry I didn't introduce you. I'm just in a weird mood
He's
today.
from North Carolina. We don't know if he's there.
So that creates a problem. Question is, where is Rev today? Could he be in America? Could he be in another country or another state? Let's find out.
Another state of mind.
All right. So
All right,
Rev,
John, I know you're not down with this game. Maybe you haven't seen this. What you're really doing is guessing a state in the southeast. It's not really anywhere. It's just I wanted it to be fair. I didn't want to over our guest. You know what I mean?
You're in Alabama.
Tennessee.
You think I'm in Alabama, Debbie? Where you got Tennessee?
Yep, I'm in Tennessee.
What do you got? John Pearson, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bud. I think you're in Georgia.
You think I'm in Georgia, RangerRob?
Seattle.
I don't think you can keep guessing that until it's right on that one, RangerRob.
I think Alabama.
Alabama, small town tourist. What you got up there, bud?
Boy, I guess I got to go with South Carolina.
You're gonna go with South Carolina. I think you got it there, John Pearson, which is probably Miss Mindy, isn't it? I am in Georgia currently.
Ah.
Jack says
Good
you're
deal.
out of the house.
He's usually in the doghouse, so I guess he's doing better than.
Most of
So,
the time he is in the doghouse. He's out there with the dog.
That's true. That's true. Before we get going, I also have I did get a chance to check with anybody, but anybody have shout outs for anything that was unique this week that you're impressed with?
I'm impressed that you got your Oregon grown up and going.
You just got to start selling stuff now.
That's my shout out.
I appreciate that. So, as just a reminder to let everybody know that we have we're selling our park now. Yes, it's only within a 50-mile radius. I'm waiting for my nasty note from Jack. When are you going to send it to California? But one step at a time. And yeah, so give it a try. We've got some unique flavors when it comes to sausages and the quality. It's the new red meat, they say. So yeah, come check it out. And soon, if John Pearson ever gets around to it, we're going to have your I even have a spot ready for you. Just plug it in. We're going to have your honey, fresh honey from Eugene. That's going to be really cool.
Yep. It will happen. It will happen. I know I say that forever.
I know how hard it is to get anything done nowadays. Oh my gosh, I'm so behind.
And chicken will
today,
be on there soon.
We had a very unique conversation earlier today, me and Debbie, and we were kind of talking about the fact that we might, you guys are all young folks, but we might be at an age where it's like, when is enough, or when do you slow down, and when do you embrace maybe a little bit of things that might even be a little city slickish. And so example, I don't know, well, Debbie and their family, and of course ourselves, we're working our butts off. And I can hardly keep up because I'm a one-person show and I only have Sherry on the weekends and stuff. And I always feel bad that she works all week. And then the first thing we do is put her to work here. Now she enjoys it and all that stuff too. But when do you, and then the last thing is we all own between the two families, RVs. We used to travel a lot and stuff like that. And so, it's been really hard to even consider a vacation. And so, I got a fifth wheel here, beautiful fifth wheel, and haven't been able to use it because I can't leave the place because I either got new animals coming in or selling stuff or get new puppies and stuff like. It's like, so when is enough is enough, and what is some of the impacts of that? For example, if you had a family and the kids and you had maybe 5 at home or whatever, you could probably keep up a little bit better on the homestead. But if you're one person or one person working and one person keeping up the homestead and stuff like that, it gets a little harder. If you had both of you were retired or able to work on the homestead, that would make it a lot easier. And those are big factors. And so, Debbie and John, like we're comparing, our scenarios. They've got each other to kind of bounce off projects, where Sherry and I is like, I can get some things done during the week, but there's certain things I just got to have Sherry's help, and John and Debbie won't let me call them anymore. So, because last year I made them do so many projects for us, stuff. So. And it's nice to have John here.
You can call us all you want. It's just, do I answer the phone or not?
That's right. And that's why it's nice to have small town tourists here, because he's thinking about getting into some of the things we're doing and what's his limitations. Of course, what's your resources? And so if you have too many resources, you might get into things too much. If you don't have enough, sometimes you're frustrated because you don't have enough resources. When it comes to homesteading. So I was kind of leaving the conversation because we have different generations in here, and that's kind of neat to say. But like, for example, I'll use this, me and Sherry's examples. We were up to 22 pigs at one time. Now we're down to 6 now. But that was pretty hectic. And it's not just the fact of the work as it is the cost. And so I was pumping out 70 pounds of pig feed a day for a while. And that doesn't even count the chickens and all that stuff. But, there's all kinds of factors like how far do you want to press your finances? How far do you want to, do you ever want to go on a vacation? Do you got things like small town tourists? He's got places to go and he's got places to film. Do what we're doing might not be the way to go. But it's nice to learn, especially I'm hoping you're learning from this show that you can get everything that we're doing from resources around you. So if you want fresh pork, you want fresh beef or whatever, you can get it. You just don't have to be the one raising it. And sometimes you think, well, isn't that more expensive? And sometimes, a lot of times, if you're the actual producer, usually you'll be lucky to break even. So letting other farmers where they'll sell animals to you direct, they'll drop it off at a processor, and all you have to do is wait for a phone call, write a check, and pick up your meat and put it in the freezer. So there's a lot of factors there. And John Pearson, he's got his gorgeous grandkids that want to spend time with him, and he doesn't want to be working 24/7 trying to keep up with the pigs and the chickens all the time too. So I want to hear everybody kind of, give everybody a chance to talk about what they've gone through, what they need to back off on, and maybe what they've noticed as aging has come along. For example, Sherry, she's going to retire around 65, which is about 2.5 years left. And so we're going to probably cut things down so we can take that beautiful fifth wheel in our driveway here and start going down John Smith's place in Arizona and see how he's doing.
There you go.
Yeah. So that means that we have to reduce our responsibilities here and find out what balances well. Maybe we want to start snow burning, things like that. So I'm going to let Debbie.
Do in a caravan across the United States.
That's right. Sounds good. So just because we talk about homesteading and just because doesn't mean that we're trying to drag everybody into it. We're just giving you ideas of taking fractions of things that we do, or look at the resources near you that you don't have to do the work, but realize there's people that do want to do the work and support them, your local people, to get the same results. And so I'm going to let Debbie pick up the conversation from here. So what were some of the things that stuck out from our conversation today?
A lot of people, when they start doing homesteading, they bite off more than they can chew. I'm one of them, because it started out, if we disappear, we're having thunderstorms right now. But because we started out with 2 piglets, and then I went to 12 chickens, and now I'm up to 72 chickens, 5 pigs, and 12 rabbits now. And you need to start off slow. You really need to start off slow, because you're going to get burned out really fast.
And that's what this does, is burn you out real fast.
Yeah. And then you got your gardening, if you want to do that on top of all of this. And gardening is a lot of work with the weeds and the fertilizing. And I'm basically a first-time gardener. And at my age 62, that's a lot of work for somebody that's that age.
And just general yard maintenance. I mean, we've been chopping weeds for almost 3 to 4 days straight, just to unbury our yard.
Yeah, it just happens overnight over here.
It's kind of weird, guys. We every night we've been getting up to almost every day now we're getting up to the 80s, and every night, like right now, we got a thunderstorm going over, and it's happened 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to warn everybody that's watching the show today that we could cut out because of power and stuff like that. Because it's just how it is out here. So,
It's getting very muggy.
Yeah. So we're talking to John Smith. He says, well, he's getting that down there in Arizona, but he's starting to get the early monsoons, aren't you?
Yeah, already, which is about 90. Well, no, about 40 days early, I think, about 40 to 45 days early. But I wanted to ask you guys a question, those who have homesteads, because this is something that is kind of a dream of mine. It's something that I want to do, but then I realize, what is it that's driving me to do it? And I think a lot of times the thought of just being able to provide your own food and kind of getting the rush out of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then at what point does providing your own food, the excitement wear off, and then you realize, I've got this huge farm to take care of?
When your freezer and your pantry is full.
Yeah. Right.
Ours is completely full, and it's like, what are we going to do with 2.5 pigs?
Yeah, because I want to travel. Like Rob was saying, we want to travel. We want to see the country. We want to do things. And I stop and think, is having chickens even, is that going to be something that's going to prevent me from being able to just kind of pack up and leave? We have hard enough time finding someone to watch our cats, let alone.
Chickens are the easiest things ever. You can set them up for a week at a time and they'll be fine.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yep.
But pigs and all that, no.
Yeah, there's no pigs in my future.
Okay, well, pigs is not, because we've done it. We've gone for 11 days.
Yeah.
And we built pig feeders.
And chicken feeders.
And
chicken waters.
They did really good with the food, but when we got home, we had our neighbors checking, of course. But they went through the food. Because whatever's down there, they're going to eat it.
Yep.
And if you have chickens that are meat birds, like the Red Rangers or the white ones?
Cornish cross.
Yeah, those ones. Whatever food you put down, they're going to eat up right away. But if you have like your regular chickens, they don't do that. That's what I've learned having chickens, is they don't do that. So you can put food down and the water down, and they'll be fine 4 to 5 days.
Easy. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So like for the pigs, do they have feeders that are based on timers where you can set it up for?
They do, but we had our own trough system made up that'll hold 3 bags at a time. So we could actually go away for the weekend. But these Idaho pasture pigs, they'll eat it all.
And I did use the feeders, the automatic feeders for the cootie coons that we had. I didn't care for them. They weren't liable. Like, you'll have them set for a time and they'll only dispense half the food.
And they dispense it like wildlife feeders for like deer.
Yeah, I tried a couple different ones
and it'll throw it clear across the yard.
Yeah, so I built a housing around it so it would drop right into their pan. And it either dropped half of it, a fourth of it. I couldn't get it regulated to drop the whole amount.
Interesting.
So yeah,
I kind of want to add on to this before we go to our younger people, which is John Pearson and also Rev, is both of our families, Debbie and John, and then Sherry and I, we had the opportunity to be full-time RVers 2 times in our lives. Once in 2006, and then for about a year and a half, and also in 2015, just after I retired, we got to travel for about 18 months. And so you do get that in your blood, and you realize you see, and you get a chance to move around. You get to see all the problems. At least as far as Arizona, for us, we didn't get to go back east too much. But one thing about just full timing and not having houses at the time that was your only house, it's kind of funny. You start feeling fun and you start going to Home Depot or something and realize all these cool things like the planter boxes and the nice flowers and stuff you can't buy because you can't,
You have
can't
nowhere
have
to
that stuff in
store
an
'em while
RV,
you're gone.
And so you start getting homesick a little bit. And so I guess you got to look out for the fact that the grass is always greener on the other side all the time. So I know that we have this wonderful freedom of the space and the privacy and the country living out here, and I know after time I'd realize how much I'd miss it once I didn't have it anymore. So I guess age would kind of teach us a little bit of learning lessons from that. So I think both our families were talking about that probably in the next 2 years or so we'll probably engage in a little bit more snowbirding. But knowing that we have our base here to come up, relax, enjoy, and do what homesteading kind of things we can do that's practical, but also that we could escape the weather and doesn't just because we love the country living and we like this kind of stuff doesn't mean that we don't like city life a little bit or some of the enjoyable things
I
like
don't
a
like
good
city life. Thank you.
I just like the open
No,
road.
I'm done with that.
I think-
The difference between you and Sherry and us is we always had a home base.
Yeah.
We never went. We went for a year, but we always had a home base.
Yeah. And we did.
When we were down in Arizona, we had a home base. We had a place to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and I'm kind of bringing all these different things because I want to hear what John Pearson and Rev have to say about the subject, because they're kind of like some of them are working hard to get a homestead going and get out of the work thing is like, and I'm not sure if we're giving out a warning or if we're giving out a good advice or if we're stomping on their dreams a little bit and stuff.
I don't
And
think it's a warning.
No, eventually,
it's a warning.
eventually this life will wear you out. And you need something to do afterwards.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a warning. I think it's you can only do it so long and your body says, okay, you've had enough, kind of thing.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I'll start with John Pearson. What's your observations about this particular subject?
Well, Mindy and I have talked about it a bit. We've lived here at our place right now for just at 4 years. And when we got here, the house was an absolute disaster. I had to, I spent the first year remodeling on the house, got, 3 bedrooms and a kitchen and living room and did an addition. And so that took up a lot of my time as far as that goes. And then it was only after that I decided, I've got this great piece of property that's undeveloped. Other than the apple trees were there, but I haven't burnt myself out yet on it. Although Mindy and I have had the talks, I don't take time for the quality time with her that I should. And what we're finding that we're going to do is, we have to just plan. You have to plan, and you don't plan for next week, or you don't plan for 3 weeks from now. You plan for
years.
The end of growing season, or like right now, I last weekend we dispatched those 2 pigs, and June 3rd I'm getting rid of the meat birds, and they'll be set and done. That'll take a big chunk out of it. Literally right now with the meat birds, I'm 80 pounds a week on feed, just easily. It's a week. Yeah. And so Mindy and I did talk about it. Next year, Mindy and I will be married 40 years. And so
congratulations.
Yeah, but we're finding that we need to plan. There's you can sit there and say, you just got to look a little bit further into the future and say, okay, what will we be doing this month? Okay, well, guess what? In August, the honey comes, and plus we'll be, harvesting the garden, but you just have to look ahead and plan. And I'm not planning on getting another pig for, probably a year. And the meat birds, we're doing that once a year. We're gonna schedule and plan things out a little bit more. We do need to be able to get out of here. You do need to check around, meet people, figure out who you can trust to come by your house to take care of your animals if you have to, even if it's just checking on the chickens or throwing a couple of scoops to the pigs and singing them a song or something. I do have my sister-in-law lives here on the property, and my son lives fairly close by. He comes by. He could come by every day if he had to, but you just got to be more creative. I haven't burnt myself out yet, but I am the master of overcommitment. When it's like, hey, we need 20 tomato plants, I plant 47. And I don't need.
There's Debbie.
I don't need 40 pepper plants in the yard, but guess what? I got 40 pepper plants in the yard. So it's that kind of stuff. You just need to reevaluate, I guess, and plan further in the future, and not get and it gives you something to look forward to if you plan and then book. You book it, put some money down on it, you're going, and it gives you something to look forward to.
So I have a question for you, John. This is the first time you did the meat birds?
Yes.
Do you plan on doing the amount that you did this time next year?
Yes.
Or are you going to cut back and do?
No,
less?
I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the same amount. I'm going to do it. Yeah. I'm going to do it, once a year. It's going to take 2 months. I'm going to do it, when I have other things going on as well. My chicken tractor is working absolutely flawless. I'm super, super happy with how it's working. It's moving easy. It literally takes me 6 minutes in the morning. It's not that big a deal, but going to the feed store and always getting feed, and you know what I mean? I mean, they're 5 gallons of water a day and all that kind of stuff. It wears on you, but it only wears on you because we have so much else going on.
Right.
If you didn't have the pigs, if right now you had just your meat birds, you would be craving something else, something more.
You're right. Absolutely correct.
You've got 70 chickens, and you got pigs, and you got flowers. Oh my God, are they wilting? And do they need fertilizer?
And now that it's 80 degrees, you got to water them.
I know. No, so that's just my thing. I think what I need to do, because I haven't burnt myself out yet, because all the stuff I'm doing is new, and I'm looking to doing it. But I do need to focus on trying not to be that overcommit person, because guess what? If I don't plant all those peppers and all those tomatoes, I have neighbors that have excess peppers and tomatoes. I could do it that way. You know what I mean? I want to be, I want the fabric, and I want the drip system, and I want this and that. Mindy and I have talked, and we're going to work real hard the next few years. I'm 58. I'm gonna try to shoot for 62 on retirement, and so I like to think I got 4 years to get things in order that I probably won't be able to afford when I retire, because I am going to be retiring earlier than
right,
in a lot. So yeah.
So our youngest on the panel, I believe, is Rav. I'm curious. Are these conversations you're having with your family at all? If you can hear me.
Well, not quite to the extent of what everybody else is doing. I'll be 49 here in a couple of weeks. So even though I have spring chickens, I'm no spring chicken. So I am always trying to think of the easiest way and how am I going to do it in the future kind of mindset, to be honest with you. But burning out, the life I lead with being out of town all week, and then just coming home on the weekend, I don't see burning out happening, anytime soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get a lot of me time in the hotel room,
you also work
during the week.
Too.
Yeah. See,
yeah, sometimes I do work nights. Can you guys hear me? I'm driving through a thunderstorm right now.
Oh, wow.
It's a big one.
Yeah, I'm driving through. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Well,
Make sure you drive safe, Rob.
It's either that or it's toilet.
Get off your phone,
Hey,
Reb.
you guys. Hey, you guys are in and out. Come back to me.
Okay.
Okay. So, John Smith, I know that we've been trying to prep him to start getting a little bit more self-sufficient. But I also know he loves traveling. I know he loves what he's doing nowadays. And you're working still 9 to 5 and stuff, but you're getting probably closer to a time that you can consider not working 9 to 5 anymore. Do you find our conversations to kind of help you balance what you want to do in the future? Or
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the conversations are great because, one person can only have so many thoughts and so many opinions. So it's good to bring all the different aspects of it together and have the different conversations and things like that. And I do love to travel. I'm 51, almost 52 years old. And I decided to go back to school. I wanted to go back and finish my degree. So I'm in school full time, plus I'm working full time, involved in a bunch of different things.
No, he doesn't homestead.
Yeah. And so I don't homestead, but it's something I want to start small, but I kind of what John Persons was saying, if I go in, I go all in. So that's why I don't have a single tattoo, because if I got one, I'd be like probably covered, and my neck and my forehead and everything else, eventually. So I have to be careful what I get involved in because I am
highlighter.
Yeah, I'm a go all in type of person, and I want the best of everything, and I want not the best, but the biggest, and you know what I'm saying? If I go in, I want to go in, I don't want to raise 3 or 4 meat birds. I want to raise 100 so that I can sell them to a local restaurant or something. That's my thought process.
Yeah. And I kind of like, every time I have you on the show, I want to kind of use the word, I want to get away from the word homesteading all the time, or at least some of the people that think of homesteading. I think the real word is how self-sufficient you want to be. And also probably don't like to use the word prepping so much because people get the wrong idea about that, as it is being a little bit prepared just in case of discomfort in the world, as far as emergency or worse. But I think I sometimes want to get away from both of those words, prepping and then getting away from the fact that we're not. We use homesteading because we're probably closer to that, but really, we want to reach the people that aren't homesteaders and take a piece of what we're doing and see how that would apply to your living in a rural or even outside of the city. I mean, like I thought I was making a killing in Arizona, and I just had a regular city place in Mesa, Arizona, and I was able to do amazing things in gardening from Arizona. And so I don't want to give that impression that everybody needs to move out to the country. One is, not everybody can, and it's not always makes sense, and people have responsibilities and families and all that stuff. So that's why I love to have John Smith on the show, because it keeps me thinking that we're a little more grounded, because most people are not in the country. So, but there's a lot of things that you can do from where you live to be a little bit more self-sufficient.
Yeah, and I think people tend to be intimidated if they look at a 5-acre homestead like you have, with the pigs and the chickens and the gardens and the greenhouse and hydroponics. I think it's almost it's too intimidating. It's like, whoa, to be a homesteader, I have to do this, and it's not the case. I think a couple raised beds, that with some tomatoes and peppers and things, just to get started, just to get that feel of being self-sufficient, I think is kind of what I would like to at least get started into.
Yeah.
And then another nice thing, if we want to take a break, maybe for a couple of years, we've already got the infrastructure here. We can easily bring in pigs, put in more chickens. I mean, they're not going to, the pens and stuff, they're not going away. We can fill them again. and do almost exactly what we're doing now.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing with me, as I've noticed, is I've always been a go-getter, 100%, go all out, and I've noticed that the decade of me being in my 60s, I'm realizing that I have a few more aches and pains than I did before.
Right?
And stuff.
You and me both.
And it's made me consider and think about that what I'm learning today will help me tomorrow when I don't need to be doing it myself, but I know now that there's resources around me that I can accomplish the same thing. And it's not even necessarily more expensive. So, like us, our freezers are amazing. If you look at our freezers, you would go, "Oh my gosh!" It's like grocery store over here is incredible. But I could do the same thing I'm doing now with freezers and all kind with beef, pork, chicken, without doing it myself, and still getting fresh, healthy food. And now that I know how to do it, where to get it, and when I'm looking for it, it's made a lot of difference in my life. If I lived in Arizona again, I know I could even eat better than I was when I was there before because of what I've learned being here. So,
well, you'll probably agree with this one too, Rob, is just since we've started this, 2 years ago now, the people that we met in the community, we know where to go to get the quality stuff rather than the grocery store. Because, I mean, most people know that the grocery store, they pick stuff that's not ripe and let it ripen on the shelf.
Yep.
So just doing this and being in the community, you get that bond, and you learn who the good people are and there's always good and bad and everything. And so you get to meet these people. It's like we just met a couple in Madras that were selling beef hamburger for $3 a pound, and they want to do some trading with pork.
Since we raise pork, they raise beef. That's a perfect match.
Yep.
And I want you to know, I forgot to tell you something, Rob.
Yes.
I forgot to tell you.
How handsome I am?
Yes, that was it. Sure was. I got my first ever hate email.
What?
I got my first hate email.
Oh, really? Good job.
I almost cried. I've never gotten hate mail before.
What was
All I did was advertise meat rabbits.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know some people just have way too much time on their hands that they could worry about the fact that you posted something about meat birds.
Yeah.
They
were the rabbits. She asked me if I was, what was it?
How would you enjoy being killed?
Am I up to be shot too?
Oh, wow.
It's like, really? And I couldn't keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
So I won't say what I said, but yeah.
They got a piece of Debbie.
There are some mean people out there. It's like, really? Just going to sell some rabbits. Maybe I shouldn't have put the word meat on there.
Yeah, so I know people are funny about that. They'll be the first ones to make comments like that, and then go to the grocery store and buy a pound of hamburger. It's like that food that you just bought there is worse on animals than when we do it ourselves. So
yeah, because they raise them in a basically a traction prison, and
actually I want to get a kick out of the comments. We have a guy that's got a YouTube name of YouTube Police. He says, and so we're teasing him. And he says, I'm not really YouTube. So it's just a name. It's like, well, if we're evil at any time, we would have been shut down probably a long time ago because we do a lot of shows. So, but yeah, I mean, anyway, hopefully from our discussions and stuff here is one is we like we like the different generations in here, but two is the fact that I do feel funny when I sometimes always use the name Homestead, because really we're kind of Homestead is defined sometimes that you use the definition to be as self-sufficient as possible. And then a farmstead kind of gets into the farming commercial living off the homestead, and then when you get into ranching, it's it just kind of grows, but we fall into that category. But the thing is it's more important to me that since I have the opportunity with the property we've had, and Belt Loop 29, nice to have you here. I've been to a lot of his shows, so it's really nice that he's come visit and taking the time to come visit us. So we appreciate it. But I want to make sure that if you just have a little house in Mesa, Arizona, or you're some old place and you only have a lot size, but you have a room to do a little bit of planting or have a garden and stuff, that's the people we're trying to reach. We're not trying to convince you to move out to the country. Although a lot of people want to, but we understand people have circumstances, they have families, they have careers. There's all reasons why you can't. And so I never look down on anybody that's not living in the country. And I don't want people to look at people in the country that, oh my gosh, we got to have 5 acres or 20 acres or 100. We're fortunate to be able to get the 5 that we have, but before this, we just had a lot. That was it. and we just got to convince John Smith in Arizona there to start going nuts with above ground gardens after he gets done visiting our place this week. Next week.
That's what I really want to do, Rob. I want to learn how to do something, like one thing really well. Before I jump into a bunch of different things. And I think that's kind of what leads to burnout, is you're trying to learn multiple things at the same time, and it gets overwhelming.
Yep.
Yeah. So I want to I want to get maybe some raised beds and learn how to do some growing really, really well. And so that I can produce some peppers and onion, things that we eat, peppers and onions and beans and that type of stuff, tomatoes, and then get really good at that and then move on to the next.
Yeah, I just one thing is, if you decide to grow something, you grow something you like. So grow your favorite thing. So if it's tomatoes aren't your favorite, even though people tell you should grow tomatoes, but green beans are your favorite food, do green beans.
Or chickens.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be animal though. But anyway, so I don't know. John Pearson, you're awful quiet in the bottom there. What's going on?
No, I'm thinking I'm soaking it up. That's how I get my information. I soak it up. So
you sound so similar to me and Sherry. As we came here, we had all this acreage and it wasn't being utilized. And so I was kind of thinking we could do something like this and maybe we should do that. And I've never done it before. So I had the opportunity. So I mean, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I never had a pig. I never owned a pig in my life, and now I'm a breeder. And so anyway, it's kind of fun to have the opportunity to try things. I think Debbie and I had the conversation is sometimes you want to learn how to master something and move on, and so. I know with the pigs or the meat birds, we tend to say, hey, we haven't done it before. I want to try it, go through one cycle, and then I'll decide if I want to do it again next year. And so it's okay when people want to just try ideas and see if you like it and give yourself an escape clause in there.
And raising pigs is so darn fun.
It is. Well, it is.
It is.
And the thing is too is like with myself, and I know Rev, he's on the road, he's working all the time. The job I have is a kind of stressful. I'm a minimum 50-hour week job, and so as far as the burnout goes and things, I see this is my getaway. This is my escape from the job or the pressure and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Now, if I was completely immersed, Rob, like you and John and Debbie, to where 24/7, that's all I did, I could see how you could easily get burnt out on it. But you know what? As far as it goes, there's nothing quite like the taste of a $2,400 ear of corn after you went out and bought a plow, and you went out, you made a tractor payment, and then you bought the seed and you brought in the dirt and everything like that, and you grow now mind you, the second ear of corn is only $1,400 ear of corn. You know what I mean? And so that's how it. But
all right, John, stop already,
Hey,
because I just planted my first corn.
Hey,
now I feel horrible.
It's like a fisherman who goes out with his $120,000 boat and gets his first fish. That's going to taste pretty good, but boy, oh boy, you're going to have to catch a lot of fish. You know what I'm saying? But you look forward to it. Well,
that's like these dang chickens. We went and got the plucker. We went and got the 3 sinks. We went and got the table. We went and got the canopy. We went and got the knives.
I know.
So they better be damn good.
And that's why those kind of things down the road, I probably won't. I'm going to need to get my plucker. I really want a Harvest Right freeze dryer. Those things I won't be able to afford when I'm retired. I'm going to have funds set up for emergencies, issues, and day-to-day living, but I'm not going to have that kind of stuff, and that's okay. But I'm going to spend the next few years getting myself set up and figure out if that's in fact what I want to do. But what a person really, I think, needs to do is get to yourself to a point and take some serious time. And if you're a praying person, it's a good thing to pray about and see, hey, is this really what I want? Or is this cycle that I want to get through so I can go do something else because I'm going to come back and do this again when I want it? Like Rob, when you said you're out RVing and everything, it's great. And what do you crave? You crave the stuff you're doing right now. But stuff you're doing right now, and it's the thing of it is there's always greener grass elsewhere. That the greener grass doesn't
you get there.
Fun, it doesn't make the funner playground. So you just got to think about it and pray about it.
I agree, 100%.
I would.
What
I would
he
probably,
said.
I was going to say I'd probably be more content if I had all that grass in North Carolina.
Hey, you want some grass, Robin? You don't have to go to North Carolina. I'll let you mow all my grass, and you're so thankful for that high desert.
So I gotta. By the way,
we've been weed eating for what, 3 days now?
I've had my pigs on my field of grass for over a week now, and it doesn't seem like it's going down at all. But they're eating it. It's like
so much.
I mean, but they're out there munching all the time, and I'm going, there's still a lot left. I think that area that I have, a nice grass area, is and it's probably a 1/3 acre, and I think that's going to keep them content all summer.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it will.
It won't be green long. Are you watering it?
Well, I was until the pigs decided to eat some of my watering system.
You have such hard times with your pigs, I swear.
Yeah, so Annie got out.
Problems you have.
Oh, but
Annie got out last. Well, you're on the phone with me when Annie got out. I have learned one thing: a 350-pound pig is no match for a 250-pound pig. So I don't, but yeah. So it's been the one thing is, even if I really taper off on the things we're doing on the homestead, the experience. At my age now, I've done a lot of crazy things in my life. I've owned kite stores. I've owned big businesses, all kinds of stuff like that. And it's really nice to know and look back and go, that was the greatest experience ever. Don't want to go back to it, but I can say I did it. And so the raising the pigs, the raising all these animals and stuff, there'll be a time it's going to get harder and harder and harder. but you'll never be able to take the memories away. So take the chance if you have the time and the energy to try raising animals or livestock. Go for it.
All right, Rob, I have a question for you. When you owned your kite store and you had like an unruly customer, did you tell them to go fly a kite?
I would.
Actually, I own four kite stores. So, but yeah, and it was one of those things like this is I couldn't just go in a little bit. So, I'll tell you a little bit about that just because this is kind of the same thing where you just can't go in a little bit. You got to go a lot. So before I had kite stores, me and Sherry and two other people, we started a kite team. And if you ever seen stunt kites and stuff, we used to compete. So we were actually going all through the Northwest in competitions and kite stuff. Well, then eventually I got this bright idea that maybe I should try to make these kites pay for themselves. So I started a kite store in Kent, Washington. And then I started another store in Ocean Shores, and then Bellingham, and also Everett. And so it just kept growing, and then I learned inventory control and everything. But the experience was fantastic. But when it was over with, it was kind of like walking away from a burning building. but it was a great experience. But it's one of those things is like, I did it. I had 4 stores. I had inventory control systems, the whole works, and I'd never take that time away again. But it was not the best business to be in the first place. But anyway, but but I'm like you, John Pearson, where you want to go all in and you want to be the best at what you're doing. And John Smith, he's the same way. And so I guess I like these shows because we can say, hey, if you're going all in, you might want to put control stops for yourself because it can get out of hand.
Mm-hmm. So what I did, I didn't really go all in until this year, but the first year I let Rob make all the mistakes. and then I decided what I was going to do.
And that's okay. I still get the satisfaction of going, hey, I tried it.
That's right.
Yeah, I tried it too, just not as 21 pigs at a time.
It was great when I had 3, but when they decided to multiply themselves, each one by 10, overnight, it's like, whoa, I got 23 pigs now. Crap. And a lot of things.
Pony does exist.
And the other thing we were talking about today, Debbie, that kind of was a good subject was the fact that is you were thinking about, oh, here we are in next year, I'm ready to get piglets, get my program going and stuff like that. And then we're realizing, wow, there's a lot more people that have pigs out here than we realized. And 2, we're afraid to have pigs and get stuck with inventory. I mean, it's one thing to have to have extra pigs and you can't get rid of them is quite a costly affair. So I think the reality this year is like we put one set of pigs together, but we didn't. Our pigs didn't take on their breeding. So we're doing, instead of like doing 2, I actually reduced it to 1. I'll probably do a set of piglets this year. And if it's difficult to get rid of them and move them on, I may hold off on any breeding until next year. I was thinking I would have to go all out.
Yeah, I went investigating, and there are just in Terrebonne alone, like 3 breeders. Bend has a lot of breeders. Pigs are hard to get rid of here. And people don't really care what pigs they get. And most of them around here are Coonykins.
Because they actually are better in the winter because they have a lot more hair, and so they're better for the winter up here.
But they're not good for raising for meat.
No.
They have a lot of fat on them.
Yeah.
I tell you,
That's one thing I need to do is a little more education. Is like, why did we pick the Idaho pasture pigs? And there's some really good reasons. But people that want to raise pigs, they'll say, "Oh, we can get piglets for $50, and there's some Berkshires or something." And
the Cooney-Coons.
and a lot of times they're all right, but people don't realize, like, for a little bit more money, you could get a better quality pig and really get some quality meat, and then you'll just never want to go back.
I'm totally sold. Totally sold.
And you
Have
got
you
a first.
tried yours
And
yet,
in fact,
John?
before I forget, he just butchered his pigs, and he actually did the butchering with your brother, right?
Actually, with a
A
coworker.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. So the coworker, my buddy Cliff Brown, he's the guy I said, he's got everything. So anyway, we're over there and I dispatched the pigs here at my place, put them in the back of his truck, take them to his place where we skin them and, quarter them and all that kind of stuff. And he's got coolers and everything. He was so impressed with those pigs as well as I was. Last year I raised 4 pigs. They were supposed to be Idaho pasture pigs. I think they were kind of an inbreed, kind of a weird deal. They had a lot of the characteristics and they were delicious. But I tell you what, the heaviest pig that I had after 10 months was 265 pounds. And that's not hanging weight. That was total weight.
Wow.
And these ones here, I got my little scale out, and I think I might have told you, Rob, they, I couldn't, the way we processed them and skinned them and where we were and everything, I couldn't do a hanging weight because I didn't want to risk lowering the pigs down and weighing them. But I had a 330-pound hang scale that was easily and quickly overloaded. So they're well over 330 a piece.
Your pigs were the same group that ours were, weren't they?
Second batch that Rob had.
They're the same as Dinky.
They're the same as Dinky?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we got some big boys.
Yeah.
Our first batch are bigger than Dinky.
They're
and
great.
They have a month to go.
Yeah. They're great.
Holy crap.
My point was,
I just went into shock. Because our other ones only weighed out to 244.
Yeah. Now the hanging weight on them was, I'm sure, in the mid 200s, but the initial total weight, after they had bled out and everything, they were well over 330. But I talked to Cliff and I said, Cliff, hey, listen, let me give you a couple $100 for helping me out, because this coming weekend, we're going to be doing the cut and wrap, and we're going to be curing the bacon and all that kind of. And he's got all the cool stuff to do it. And he says, no, I don't want any money. He goes, here's what I want. When your buddy over in Terrebonne gets some pigs, I want a pig. He was so impressed with those pigs that's what he wants. He wants an Idaho pasture pig. He wants it from that breeding stock. He says those pigs are amazing.
And by the way, I have 2 that are for sale, but they're already almost ready to butcher. So if he wanted to get them early, I could give up some of those pigs.
My idea, Rob, is I would buy $150, $175 pig from you, and I'd get off cheap. So don't ruin it for me.
Hey, Rob, are you currently breeding your pigs? Do you have anything in the works there?
Yeah, okay. I have. We set up a paddock just for Sparky and Maggie. We put rose petals on the ground. We've got nice music. We're playing a lot of Frank Sinatra.
1 minute.
So, there's love in the air. So and a lot of grunting.
Nice.
So and have you come up with a date when you're going to be up here?
Yeah, I'll be June 3rd.
Okay, cool.
Should be Saturday, June 3rd.
Wow, that'll be
John,
cool.
You'll take over Rob's chores. He'll take over your position, and you guys can all figure out what you really want to do.
Well, as far as his chore is concerned, I will run the video camera. I'm going to make I'm going to video everything that he does all day long.
Yeah, and then John is like, he's studying to be a minister, so I'll just step into his.
Yeah, there you go.
No problem. I could I just make the perfect minister. Yep. I'm actually very proud of what you're doing, so I'm so glad to know you and be acquainted with your family. So,
yeah, likewise. Yeah, and if you need me to, I can marry Sparky and the pig. If you know,
that would be. Yeah, I think maybe. Yeah, the Lord might be upset with us because we're doing it out of
wedlock.
Out of wedlock piglets. So yeah,
your pigs are living in sin, Rob.
That's right.
But they're happy.
Sparky has what, 3 wives now?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Mormon pig.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh gosh, that's great. Well, guys, we got to wrap up the show. I want to thank my panel. Rev was on.
Uh-oh.
Oh, the thunderstorm got the best of them.
Oh, right at the end. We wanted to thank our guest and everybody have a good evening. Can't turn it off from here.
Well, I guess we could just continue on then.
Now, John, what persons or what part of the country are you in?
I'm in Eugene, Oregon.
Oh, you're in Oregon too. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
just right
Just
on
a
the other
little,
side of the
little
mountain.
further west, yeah.
Okay, very good.
Okay, we're back.
There he is.
And there's Rev real quick.
Yo,
We're just getting ready to wrap up. Rev, thank you very much for participating, even though you've been driving the whole time.
well, thank you for letting me participate and drive the whole time.
Love
So
you, Rev.
I want to thank the panel and the diversity of different thoughts here. I hope everybody.
Night,
I
Victoria.
hope everybody feels better about the fact that we're not trying to turn you into a homesteader, as we are trying to be more self-reliant and happy. And that's what it's all about. So anyway, guys and panel, thank you very much for your participation, and we need to wrap this up. So,
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for having me.
all right, we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
This video is made possible by RangerRob Poopy Bags, available in Amazon right now. Thank you very much for watching our video. Please take the time to like, subscribe, and share our videos all over the whole wide world. Thanks.